Welcome to session 2C. And our first presenter is Dr. Preeti Singh, who will be discussing the Saharia tribe Adivasis in transition.
A very good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Preeti Singh from the National PG College, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, India. I'll be discussing the Saharia tribes Adivasis in transition. It is basically a review of what all has been done in past 2 decades. So, starting with it, every country has tribes, and they are an inseparable part of any country, and the history is full of details. These people are the base of any land and therefore are an integral aspect. In India, if we say there are approximately 700 tribes that have been notified under the Article 342 of the Indian Constitutions. And when we talk, the most common tribes on the mainland of India are Gond, Bhil, Santhal, Munda, Khasi, Garo, etc. And as per the 2011 census, the largest tribe in India is Bhils. And when we come to the Uttar Pradesh status tribal population, we see that these Saharia tribes, they have gained the scheduled tribe very recently. They were designated as scheduled caste rather than scheduled tribes. But in other states like Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, they were scheduled tribes since ages. But when we come across the border of Uttar Pradesh, they have recently gained this designation. And they are very much marginalized, and therefore they are one of the particularly vulnerable tribal groups from the
Dr.
17th. Yes, sir.
Excuse me. We're not seeing your slides change.
Right, sir.
There we go.
So we'll talk about the whole picture of the Saharia tribe, and then we will see what are the challenges being faced by this tribe. We see the first picture, we see the Saharia women dancing, and the people are dancing. They are basically dark complexion and middle-heighted people. They are very shy in nature, totemistic in nature, and generally followed in most of the clans. They basically worship plants, animals, and other deities. When we talk about the dialect, traditionally they speak Munda language, but when they have migrated to other places like Bundelkhand and other area states, so they also speak the native language of that area. When we talk about their culture, adornments and raiments, they are basically influenced by the Rajasthani culture. And the men and women of this tribe are very fond of dresses and ornaments. Housing pattern, when it comes to the housing pattern, they are inhabiting the interior hilly and plain forest regions of the various states. And they usually build a set of houses. These are the types of houses that are being built by the Saharia people. Their typical Saharia village is set against a background of hills and jungles with a stream nearby. The highland remains green with plants and other shrubs during the rainy season, but are dry during the summers. The forest around the Saharia settlement earlier used to be very thick, but due to change in climatic conditions, firewoods, cutting of trees, deforestation, etc., there is a thinning of forests, and as such, these people, they were very good. They had a very good knowledge, indigenous knowledge of the herbs and plants. And due to the thinning of forest, there is a scarcity in their livelihood and sustainability. we see the various plants and herbs that are being used by the Saharia people for various diseases and ailment treatments. Basically, predominantly, they are forest dwellers and they practice shifting cultivation. They usually collect forest produce for the sustainability, and they have immense knowledge of ethnobotany and herbal medicines. I have listed around about 22 plants and herbs that they are using in various diseases and ailments. Now, if we look at this table, that is livelihood and sustainability of Saharia people, we see that as basically Saharia tribe is currently found in majority in 3 states, that is Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan. The total population as per 2011 census is that there are 70634 number of individuals in Uttar Pradesh. Similarly, there are 614,000 individuals in Madhya Pradesh and 94,975 individuals in Rajasthan. During COVID-19, they were very badly hit. They were on the verge of starvation because they lost their jobs. And as such, we see that it has hampered their overall life. Their educational status is very low. They hardly follow the WASH program, that is Water, Health, Sanitation, Hygiene program. And although the governments are working round the clock for the upliftment, yet due to being marginalized, they are not of the status that other normal individuals of any other tribe is having. Their nutritional status is also very low. These are the various photographs in which we can see the major disease that they are suffering from is tuberculosis, because they when they shifted from their mainland, that is Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, and they went to nearby states like Bundelkhand region of Uttar Pradesh, they usually are working as bonded laborers over there, or working in stone quarries, and as such they are suffering from tuberculosis mostly. Here we can see some NGO people. They are making aware the Saharia women about the WASH programs, people using the community toilet. Still, most of the Saharia people, they use open defecation. In general, there is scarcity of water during summers, and they are not very careful, therefore, about their personal hygiene. Children, they take irregular baths, and so on. When we see the overall picture, there are few challenges that are being faced by the Saharia tribe, that is the poor community organization, because they are so much marginalized that they hardly form any organizations, and they are very scared to talk about themselves to other people. They think that other people will definitely exploit them in exchange of whatever they are offering. And then there's poor outreach to the government schemes and welfare program, poor and in some cases absent dialogues, shrinking forests and natural resources. This is one of the most striking challenges that are being faced by the Saharia tribes, because they are forest dwellers. And when they have to leave their forest and they move outside their forest, they are being exploited by various agencies and group of people. They are therefore ineffectively social protection and security. They have poor land quality because they do not have any land of their own, and they work as a hali. Hali is a type of bonded labor still. And the woman's status over there is also very shattering because the small girls, they are not being educated. Boys are given preference once again, and as such, they are being married at a very tender age. They become mother at a very early age of 15 to 16 years, and they are shouldering all the responsibilities as such of a family at a very early stage of life. Then their inadequate knowledge of natural resource management, although their knowledge of indigenous knowledge is very good at, but they do not know how to use it and how to manage these knowledge and to gain skill development through them. Major apprehensions when we say, then again it is land tenure, land-related conflicts that have become a part of the Sahariya's very existence. In most of the cases, they work as hali, I have told you earlier. Although the governments and different societies and various agencies are doing their efforts for their upliftment, but it is the land or the ambiguity of their ownership of it, which has been a constant source of conflict with their more powerful neighbors and landowners. They are being oppressed by the dominant caste that surrounds them from the nearby areas. I have certain suggestions and recommendations to be made. The Sahariya tribe is losing its primitive nature and status due to the social changes, the encroachment of the forest and rapid urbanization. Although the work and the efforts have been commendable by the government and other agencies, yet the governments of the three states where the Sahariya tribes are in larger populations, they should create and maintain the database of the Sahariya especially, ensure regular and timely distribution of the food and funds. As I have told you earlier, that during COVID-19, their situations became worse, and few Sahariyas also died due to starvation. Create more opportunities to improve the economic activities and livelihood schemes under Manrega to avoid distress migration, because the government should make some schemes and strategies so that they should get their jobs and their employment where they are at present located or residing. They should not migrate, because when you migrate from your own place to other places, the chances of getting a very good job in context when your education is very low, mostly the Sahariyas are not literate. So the government should design such vocational and skill-based schemes for self-employability, wage employment, and entrepreneurial capacities to uplift them from this vicious circle of poverty. Thank you.